Let's move to Western Kentucky. Currently, BetOnline has over 7.5 wins as -125 to an under 7.5 at -105. Of course, as Lonte just said, you can always get better prices if you shop around. It's really a lot of these numbers are based on how much each
Yeah.
sports book has received in action so
Yep.
far this season. Where are we going with the Hilltoppers, Lonte?
Yeah, man, Hilltoppers is one of my favorite bits. The Conference USA is obviously one of well, probably the bottom conference out of all the conferences. I mean, they're glorified pretty much like FCS plus, I guess you would say. I mean,
Yeah, some high school games or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, they did add two. They moved up Delaware and Missouri State in the conference, so they added like they're getting good at. So, not a ton of talent here, but I think Western Kentucky is one of those teams that can thrive in this specific conference, which has pretty much been Liberty or their conference. I think they've been the top two teams over the past handful of seasons. Now they did go 8-6 last year, which is the total that they have to get to here. They got three starters back total, one on the offense, two on the defense, and that does seem low. But when you look at the defensive side, I mean, their defensive numbers weren't impressive. So sometimes not returning starters and that kind of production is a positive thing if you look at it. So not all returning production is created equal is the best way to say.
The can't get
Hey,
any worse theory. Yes,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, you
familiar.
can't. And I mean, they allowed 224 rushing yards per game last year. So I mean, you got to be a little bit better than that. Offensively, they did lose their quarterback Vilcamp to Florida Atlantic, but they bring in Maverick McIvor from Abilene, who also will be being coached by his offensive coordinator Rick Bowie, who comes in. He was the offensive coordinator at Abilene, where they had a top 10 passing offense in the FCS. Maverick threw for over 3,500 yards. He's got a 37 ratio. Now, obviously, a little bit of step up in the competition. Now, it's not like he's going from FCS to the Big Ten or the ACC, but this is a little bit of a step up, albeit the competition is a little bit down. But I think he'll be fine. I think he'll adjust. It's obviously you got that continuity with your offensive coordinator. The O line, they only bring one starter back, which is a concern. But the offense that they play, I think, will be up tempo, so they won't be blocking a ton. They bring the top four wide receivers are gone, but they brought in four who are really productive. I got to watch out for, maybe if you're playing fantasy football, you want to like a sleeper. Matt Henry from Western Illinois, 63 catches, over 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think he'll be really a beneficiary of this offense. The defense is the thing that I'm worried about more than likely because of that rush defense, and they don't bring a lot of continuity back. I mean, lost their top 12 tacklers, but like we talked about, that production or lack of thereof is maybe a good thing. They bring in a new DC, so you got a new scheme and new things to get into, and I think overall that'll improve. I mean, obviously you could just allow 25, 30 less yards, and you're already improved last season from a defensive perspective. So I do think that overall Western Kentucky is the second best team in this conference. And I mean, a win total of 7.5. We'll get into the schedule. I know we'll go through it, but I think they're a little bit better than they were last year, although they lose Velcamp and a lot of that production. I think that these guys will come in. They got a good transfer portal. They got a good head coach. I like the offensive coordinator hire. Defense can only trend up. So arrows pointing up for me on the Hilltoppers.
Okay, so we'll start with Sam Houston. No longer Sam Houston State, I guess. Back in the college days when I was there, they had a state attached. No longer. North Alabama second, Toledo third, then Nevada, then they get Missouri State, the recent promotion, I guess you could say, from FCS to
Yep, yep.
FBS, Missouri State. Back in the day, I attended Arch Madness unfortunately in March.
Great tournament.
I guess that's over now.
Great tournament.
But they go on the road to Missouri State, so I guess if you're going to play any game on the road, it might as well be a team that
Mm-hmm.
just got promoted to your level. The next week they play Delaware, who you just mentioned, also new to FBS. That one is on the road as well. So two road games that might be against the weakest competition you could potentially have. So not so bad in conference. FIU, Louisiana Tech, New Mexico State, Middle Tennessee. A trip to LSU in Baton Rouge. That's
Yeah.
probably a
So
loss on your expectations. You never know.
yeah.
Shock the world. That could be a free win out there because no one's expecting them to win that game. And then close on the road in Jacksonville, not Florida, but Alabama with Jacksonville State. I'm assuming no real expectation for the LSU game. Are there any stretches in here that concern you, or maybe just is Western Kentucky. I mean, they certainly have been a basketball team I've backed a lot over their
Mm.
recent decade or so. Football a little bit more beyond what I've kind of been watching, and who knows how much CUSA anyone's going to be
Yeah,
watching
that's true.
this
That's
year
true.
with so many games on Saturdays. But tell me a little bit more about maybe some scheduling quirks or something you're interested in there.
Yeah, I broke the win total down this way. So I have them a TD plus favorite in all of their home games. Now the so that'll be I think 5 wins if I count it correctly. Now can they get three of the remaining five road games? Now I'm assuming it's really six, but I'm counting LSU as a loss like you put it. So their road games are Lonte, Missouri State, Delaware. We're taking out LSU, Jacksonville State, and Toledo. So I'm looking at they have a tough stretch after the bye where they play three of their five games on the road, but two of those were against the newcomers, like you talked about in Missouri State and Delaware. Now, while Missouri State has a really good quarterback, and Delaware is one of those teams who I think will kind of thrive, similar to like Jacksonville State did when they joined this conference. Um, that'll be a tougher game. Delaware will, and I think that's back to back travel if I have that correctly. But I think they can get three, and the three games that I'm looking at they can get is La Tech, Missouri State, and one between Jacksonville State, Delaware, and Toledo. Toledo, I think I have them similarly power rated. They get Jacksonville State at the end of the year. I think
Yep.
you would rather get them early on. But again, we never know how the season is going to go. Same with Toledo. You get Toledo early on, and I think Toledo is one of the better teams in the MAC, obviously, as they always are. So that's always a coin flip type of game. But I do think between La Tech, Missouri State, Delaware, and Jacksonville State, they can definitely get three of those games. And that's how I broke down the win total, to be quite honest with you. And I'm obviously assuming that they get all those home games, but like I said, I have them power rated, a TD higher in those games at home. So that's how I was looking at the win total. That tough stretch after the bye is really, really critical. Like I said, three of those five games after the bye are on the road. So that'll be critical of how they come out early on. But I think they'll be fine there. So I have them pegged at like 8.6. So I'm a little bit over this number. So I like this. I like this pretty much even with the juice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's never great to play two straight road games, including it's really tough to go into Newark, Delaware on a Friday night, apparently.
Absolutely.
But I mean, if you're gonna have to do it that way, you might as well play two teams that are new to the conference, new to
Yep.
the level, back-to-back road games. Okay, we'll move next